I was over on the side thinking about what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I finally decided that between Steve and James, they covered all my points. So I'm sitting there wondering, what am I going to talk about? But I guess I can figure out something. Well, greetings. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Well,
and, we're working on Greg. We get him to say y'all, huh? So that's been fun. Been traveling around with Steve Fisher. That's been a lot of fun for me. You want to travel with successful people and like-minded people. Steve Fisher's the man, guys. I'm telling you, he is the man. And I'll also say this. I'm excited about this business more than I've been in years because of two things, and that's Steve Fisher and Ryan Morris being in the corporate office. I promise you right now, it takes time to move a big company, but these guys have us going in the right path, and you're fixing to see our next explosion because of Steve Fisher and Ryan Morris. So it's a lot of fun hanging out. If you haven't got anything going in Ohio, you want to get something going in Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a big state for us. It is rocking. They're like-minded people. It reminds, when we went from Texas up here to Pennsylvania, I felt like people from Pennsylvania kind of had that like-mindedness like we did in Texas, and I feel that same way about Ohio. So really focus on thinking and asking people who they know in Ohio and get you a leg going there. Good things are happening. Now, I have the pleasure of giving you a 3-hour lecture in about 30 minutes, okay? They want me to cover creating culture and goal setting, and each of those usually take me an hour and a half. So I'm going to talk as fast as the Texan can talk, and y'all are going to have to listen fast, okay? Before I get going, it just kept hitting me as I was listening to the speakers talk, the stuff Steve was going over, the stuff James went over. And, we do the coach and cowboy call every Sunday night, Randy and I do. Y'all get on that? We have the leaders come on. We just rotate through lots of people that have been successful. They've made executive director, national director, 300 club. I mean, they're rocking and rolling. And the thing that hit me last week, and I talked about it on the call, is, we all have parameters that we all kind of stay in. They do it a little bit different. Each of them do. They have their own personality in their business. But the one thing that just keeps coming up over and over again is that they work. They work their business. And you talk to them and they work their business every day. They work. And then I'm listening to James talk, and I've talked to Jeff a lot. Here's the deal, guys. They have urgency to what they're doing. Have you noticed that? Listening to James talk, man, I'm going, wow. I watched Jeff hit it the last few weeks getting the ED, and they have urgency about what they're doing. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Life is moving on. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed how fast life moves on? It's like Christmas was 2 weeks ago, and now we're to August. It's like, what happened? How do we jump through 7 months that quick? Do you realize life is going to keep moving just like that? And most of us in this room, if we were honest with ourselves, somehow got trapped into leading a life we never intended to live. I'll say that one more time. Most of us in this room got trapped into leading a life we never intended to live. I was in that group, ladies and gentlemen. I was teaching and coaching and barely paying the bills and struggling and worrying about foreclosure and bankruptcy and everything else. And I remember thinking, this ain't what I signed up for. This ain't what I really thought this was going to be all about. I thought I'd be rocking and rolling by now. And instead, I'm struggling to pay the bills, counting change out of an ashtray to eat a $2 lunch at Lakeview High School. If we're real honest with ourselves, I would bet a few of us, at least in this room, are in that same boat going, how did I get in this predicament? I was going to be killing it right now, and now I'm just barely eking by. Here's the neat deal, ladies and gentlemen. All of us in here, you got greatness inside you. Everybody I'm talking to, you got greatness inside you. But here's the scary part. Every time I drive by a cemetery, I realize most of those people had greatness inside them too. But the problem is most of them went to their grave with their greatness still inside them. They were always going to get around to it. They were always going to do something a little different. They were always going to make it happen. But life just kept marching by, and the days just kept clicking off, and all of a sudden, life ended, and they never got there. They never showed their family what they could do because they just got kind of wrapped up in living the day-to-day life. Life started beating on them, and they stopped dreaming. They stopped putting their goals down. They just trying to exist. Ladies and gentlemen, we can change this right now. We've got a vehicle that can change it, but you're going to have to make a decision that you're going to start doing it now. You're going to have to get that urgency that you're going to do it now. Do you realize to be a top money earner in this business, it really, I've said it since day one, you got to plug in, you got to set appointments, and you got to show the plan. The difference, though, is what rate are you setting those appointments and showing those plans? How many times a day are you setting appointments and showing the plan? See, everybody in here, you can pick up the phone and make those calls, can't you? I ain't saying you like doing it, but I'm saying you can do it. Am I right? I mean, if we really wanted to, we can pick up that phone and go, hey, I got something I'm going to run by you. We can do that. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And then we can go show the Steve Fisher video. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we can. We can do that. Do you realize that's the whole key to success in this business? That's why everybody in here, you can be successful in this business if you want to. But are you willing to make those tough phone calls when you don't feel like it? Are you willing to drive across town and get stood up a few times? Or are you going to get your dauber down and quit? See, that's really what it boils down to. I talk to the successful people every week on my A-Team leadership call and on the coaching cowboy call. And the one thing I figured out is those successful people are out setting appointments and showing the plan and plugging into everything they can plug into. That's the keys to success. I can end my talk right now. That's really what it takes. I get that question all the time. How do you make millions of dollars, Presley? You show the plan, 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 you show the plan. You get sick of showing the plan. But you know what you keep doing? Show the plan, show the plan, show the plan, show the plan. That's really what it all boils down to. You need to make a decision that you're going to do that. Now, I'm going to talk about some stuff, obviously, that I think is helpful, absolutely. But it really boils down to, do you really want to change, or are you just giving it lip service? Because what I find out, most of the people I talk to, they give me lip service. And then, as James said, they don't follow up with any action. This is all about doing it. But here's the neat part. I'll say it one more time. You got greatness inside you. You can do it. It's just, will you do it? You know, my greatest asset is I had a burning desire in my butt to be somebody. I grew up dirt poor, no dad, lived in the ghettos. Then I taught school for 16 years. There's no qualifications to have made millions of dollars. None. Except that burning desire in my butt that I wanted to be somebody. And I'm hoping you get that burning desire in your butt to be somebody too, because you can, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm not even going to charge you for that. I don't even know where that all came from. I'm supposed to be talking about creating culture. Oh. You don't have to be real smart. I got my notebook set in front of the projector. I won't even look at it. I'll just stare at your board. How's that? That's what I do. What is culture? Huh? Do you realize your team has got culture whether you know it or not? You know, culture either happens by design or default. And you want the right culture. I believe culture is a key to building those leaders that Steve was talking about. You're going to hear some duplication between what Steve said and what I said, because it's the truth. So let's talk about culture. The attitudes, practices, and methods we foster to duplicate throughout our organization. It is the yeast that causes the bread to rise. Creating culture. All right, here we go. I don't know if y'all can tell, you got it from Steve, you got it a whole big dose from James about having a little bit of what? Energy. You know, nobody wants to be around a toad frog. Do you understand that, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, if you got that, you know, I just took castor oil look on your face, and if you are sitting there and you have no energy, and I mean, you're mumbling and you're not acting excited, I'm going to tell you right now, energy is a big deal. And I believe in having energy when I'm talking to people. I'll be sitting in a quiet place, maybe a restaurant or something, and one of my teammates will call. I'll get up and say, hold on, and I'll run outside so I can go, hey, what's happening, man? Isn't it a great day? Because I want them to understand I've got some energy. I'm excited about life. I think energy is a huge key to our success in this business. Guys, people don't want to be around negative, dull, disillusioned, frustrated crybabies. They want to be around people that have some energy, that are excited about what's going on. Randy Hedge says it better than anybody. He says if you'll get fired up, people will come from miles around to watch you burn. And there's a lot of energy to that. The culture of having fun. I have fun. Life is fun to me. I love getting up every day. The older I get, the more I'll realize that every day on the right side of the grass is a good day. I'm excited about life, ladies and gentlemen. I want to have some fun. And do you understand, we can work our butt off and still have fun while we're working our butt off? You know, I just like doing things. It's fun. I like hanging out with Steve Fisher. I like hanging out with the leaders. I like doing stuff like that. Every time I have a meeting, ladies and gentlemen, at night, like Steve and I were in Mission, Texas, when was that? Tuesday night. Mission, Texas, Tuesday night. By the way, the air conditioning went out. We had a room about half this size with about this many people in there, and I was sweating. You could feel it running down your back. Am I right on that? That was the hottest room I've ever been in my life. Thank the Lord the air conditioner's working here. But we did our meeting, and then we went out afterwards to a Mexican restaurant and all hung out and had a blast. I'm telling you, you got to have fun. I invite all the EDs and streams to my house at Christmas. We have a Christmas party. I like to have fun. You get to come this year. I might make an exception. Your wife can come. I don't know about you. But, I mean, we have fun. When I'm up here, I'm having fun. You know, I mean, I enjoy talking to you guys. I hope I can move a couple of you to have some success, because you all could. But I'm telling you, we want to have fun as we're building our business. People go to jobs, J-O-B, working for that boss, which is double S-O-B spelled backwards, and they do that. They don't enjoy. He looked in there and goes, he just said that. You know, they don't have fun at their jobs. We've got to make stream a little bit of fun, ladies and gentlemen. That's a culture that I think we all want on our team. Now, if you've been around me very much, you know that is huge. You heard Steve talk about it, James talk about it. We all talk about this one. It's a culture of learning and growing. You know, I was a lot like James. When I was in college, I knew I did go to college. I don't know that it was for me, but I did go. Because for me, I knew I wanted to be a coach, and to be a coach, you have to have a degree. I was on that same program James was on, just get my butt out of here, you know? I mean, hurry and give me that degree. Now, did I learn a little bit? Yeah, I learned a little bit. Could I have learned about 10 times as much if I'd been focused? Yeah. You know what? This old boy is on a learning program now. My whole attitude about that has changed. I am a lifelong learner. Lifelong learner. I am trying to learn right now. And Steve was absolutely right. Yesterday, we're delayed 2 hours because of the storms up here, and I got my headphones on, and I got my audio books. I don't know if you got that program on your phone, but you need to get it. It's just called audio books. A little bitty deal down here. Audio books. You can go through a litany of books and pick out the ones you want to listen to. But I mean, I've been listening to books. I was listening to Good to Great, and I mean, I've read that thing a couple of times by Jim Collins, but I was listening to it yesterday. And I mean, I listen to books all the time. I read stuff all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, think this through. If you just read 10 pages a day in a year, that would be 10 times 365, 3,650, and you've read about 15 or 20 books. Do you understand that your circumstances, where you are now, is a direct result of your actions? That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. But do you realize your actions are a direct result of your thoughts? So if you want to start thinking different, because then that'll make your actions different, then that'll make your circumstances different. Guys, we got to do something different if we want something to change in our life. That is such a key that we kind of miss. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting, the same old stuff. We're going to be getting that paycheck that ain't enough, and then all of a sudden, we're going to reach that retirement age and try to live on 50 or 60% of what 100% wasn't enough of. Huh? And then we think that's normal. No, that ain't normal. It's what the average mediocre people do, but it shouldn't be what we do. We should have a better plan. But it's got to start with thinking different. I challenge challenge you. Start reading a little bit. As you're driving around in that rolling university, throw an audio program in the CD player or put your headphones on when you're driving. Or that may be against the law. I don't know. You attorneys, is that against the law? I mean, I don't know. But, okay, just put it in your smartphone and play it with the volume up. I mean, whatever we need to do. Put good stuff in our head. At night, instead of watching that time-wasting electronic income reducer that a lot of people call a TV? Yo. I call it a time-wasting electronic income reducer. See, I'm simple-minded. Here's my thoughts on that deal. See, I don't want to watch millionaires having fun on a little box. I want to be a millionaire having fun. That's my theory on life. And I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching millionaires have fun on that little old TV thing, you're not going to become one. You realize that the average American watches 6 hours of television a day? Average American, 6 hours of television a day. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of doing that, why not at night just take 30 minutes, get your computer or your smartphone out, go to YouTube, and let's look at some Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey, John Maxwell, Les Brown. I mean, I could just keep going through the list. Jim Rohn. Why don't we list, Joyce Myers is a good one. Why don't we listen to some people like that that's talking to us about how we can change our lives? Why don't we put some good stuff in our head before we go to bed instead of watching the boob tube? I challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're really wanting to change your life, to read a little bit, to listen as you're driving around, and at night, instead of watching the TV, to start watching just 30 minutes of some good stuff, put it in your mind. And do you realize your mind will dwell on that stuff the rest of the night? Your mind never really sleeps. If you'll put that good stuff in there right before you go to bed, your mind will be dwelling on that all night long, thinking how you can change your life. My last one is, who do you run with? And, you know, James was talking about it, you know, you want to run with winners. You know, I used to pull my basketball team together at the beginning of the year, and I'd talk to them about how to act and dress and make good grades and show respect and all the stuff you'd think I'd talk to some young men about. But I'd always talk to them and tell them this before the speech was over. I'd say, listen, guys, you show me who you run with, and I'm going to show you who you are or who you're going to be. Do you realize that applies to us, ladies and gentlemen? If you're running with winners, chances are you're going to be a winner. If you're running with losers, chances are you're going to be a loser. So you should be finding out, you should be searching out the people that are winners, that are motivated, that see the glass half full, that are going somewhere in their life. They may not have arrived, but you can tell they're on the right road. And then those folks that are on the wrong road, those folks that are always blaming somebody else or something else for their lack of success, when you see those people, guys, you should spend as little time with them as possible. Now, when it's your family, sometimes you can't get away from them totally. But you can just be a little busier than you used to be when they call. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be running with winners if we want to be a winner. I'm telling you right now, you can't fly with the eagles if you're pecking in the dirt with the chickens. I mean, it just doesn't work. We need to have a culture of learning and growing. I could spend 30 more minutes on that point, see. Culture of recognition. Guys, when your team does something good, you make a big deal out of it. You know, they get a customer, make a big deal out of it. And in your mind, you may be thinking, oh crap, they should have 30 by now. But if they get one, make a big deal out of it. Because people love recognition. Grown men die for it and babies cry for it. Do you understand that? You got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, most people will do more for a little bit of recognition than they will for the money. It's the craziest thing. People love a pat on the back, don't you? I do. I love it when somebody pats me on the back. I mean, we like that. We need to be recognizing our team for everything they do. And try to recognize them when they do something you want them to be doing. Try to recognize them in front of as many of your other team members as you can. Because when you're rewarding somebody, if I reward Michael J. for doing something, the people around him are going, hey, I'm going to get rewarded. I'm going to run and do that. I mean, it motivates people to do the right activities. Recognition is huge. Culture of personally sponsoring and producing. Now, here's where I may kick you in the shins a little bit. So many of us will reach MD or SD, and all of a sudden we put it in neutral and shift into what I call management mode. We start managing the team instead of doing what we did to get us successful. Ladies and gentlemen, there's never a time that you shouldn't be producing. There's never a time that you shouldn't be personally sponsoring. I'm telling you right now, your team is watching you. And this is a monkey see, monkey do business. They can't hear what you say for watching what you do. If you're wanting your team to sponsor more, then get your butt out there and sponsor more and watch what your team does. If you're wanting your team to get some more customers, you go get some more customers. You know what I've got, where I do when I take a prospect to the meeting in Dallas, if Michael is my prospect, I'll walk him around and introduce him to all my leaders. Hey, I want you to meet Michael, he's my guest tonight. Hey, I want you to meet Michael, he's my guest tonight. Hey, I want you to meet Michael, he's my guest tonight. Why am I doing that, to brag? No, I'm doing it to show my team that I'm still bringing people to the meetings. I'm still sponsoring, and I want them to feel bad if I ain't got somebody there. You know, I love getting together, and I feel like we're a family. Most of the people in here, or at least half of you, I know, love, I'd do anything in the world for them. Yeah, we're a family, and I love getting together. But the meetings are for more than just getting together. Do you understand that? You're supposed to have somebody with you, or several somebodies with you. We've got to produce if we want our team to produce. If we're just sitting on our butt waiting for our team to do it, that don't work that way. It's kind of like what Steve was talking about. Don't be the next Randy Hedge, Susan Fisher, Jeff Steer. Don't wait for them, be them. You be the one that's making it happen. And then watch. When you are doing it, you start attracting better leaders to you. See, leaders want to be around people that are going somewhere, that know where they're going, that are actually making it happen. If you're a leader, you don't want to be around a dud, do you? No. So understand, don't be the dud, be the leader. You be the one that's doing it, and you'll start attracting those people to you. Number 6, culture of promoting. Now, we all want to go from regional director to managing director to senior director to executive director to national director. We all want to do that. Absolutely. And when one of your teammates do that, guys, you need to be making the biggest deal in the world out of it. You follow me? Now, I'm going to second what Steve said. Build a team. Don't just chase a title. See, this guy was making more than a lot of EDs was before he ever became an ED, because he had customers, he had team members, he was building a huge organization, has thousands of customers. When I see people that have 22 customers and they're trying to promote the ED, I'm thinking, this ain't good, because you're going to get to be an ED and your check's going to be $17. Forget the title, send me the money, right? We got to understand, we want to be building a team the right way, and that is getting quality customers and quality business partners. That's what makes this thing go, guys. But recognize anybody that gets promoted. Make a big deal out of it, because you do want your team promoting. Just encourage them to do it the right way. Number 7, a culture of attending events. Now, that one, obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here, huh? We're at an event. Good turnout today. I love it. We got more people than we got chairs. That's what I like to see. But you got to plug in. You know, this is one of the things that wears me out, Steve. People tell me how important streaming is to them, but they won't show up to anything. If this is really important to you, if you really think you have a chance to change your life, don't tell me you can't show up every once in a while for something. Let's get real. If it's important to you, you're going to be there. So when you don't show up, that tells me that it ain't really important to you. It really tells me that you're giving lip service. Now, I understand that sometimes somebody's graduating or getting married, or somebody dies, or somebody's in the hospital. I understand life happens and you have to miss something every once in a while. Yes, absolutely. But I'll say this, you should be about 90% of the stuff that happens. And if some of those big life events happen, it is what it is. But you got to be plugging in if you want to accomplish anything in this. You got to get around like-minded people. You got to get around people that are going somewhere, because that's what motivates us. If you're not an ED and you watch Jeff standing up here, you should be thinking, if that sucker can do it, I know I can. Really. Does that not motivate you when you... I'm kidding with you, Jeff, but he gave me this ugly look. I thought, man. But do we understand? That should motivate you. You should be thinking, I want to be up there. I want Steve saying nice things about me. We got to attend, guys. We got to plug in. And then I'll wrap it up with just, you got to be involved. You got to be involved. This is about just get into it. You know, it always tickles me. People will go, oh, that thing's just a cult. Everybody shows up to those happy meetings and does all that stuff, you know. I mean, it's not a cult, but I mean, I like going to happy places, don't y'all? And they go, well, you're just all into that. Yeah, I'm pretty much all into this. Made me about $30 million. I guess I can be happy about it. They act like there's something wrong with getting focused on something. Because they won't, is what the big deal is. Guys, understand this. People that even love you will do this. People that love you will go, I hope you do good. And when they walk off, they're thinking, I hope she sinks. I mean, I don't know. Because what it is, if she makes it big, if she's buying the new houses and the new cars and taking care of her parents and doing all that stuff, it makes them look bad because they have the same opportunity. You got to understand, people that even care about you deep down really don't want you to be successful sometimes. I'm not saying everybody. We do have good family members and good friends that want the best for us. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of people are pulling against you, ladies and gentlemen. And you need to do what James did, and that is use that as motivation. That should be motivating you. See, if somebody tells me I can't do something, baby, I'm ready to kick some butt then. Don't tell me I can't do it. I'll show you I can. And that's got to be your attitude. But we've got to get into this. Quit looking at it like it's something bad if we get focused on something. Do you think people that start successful businesses, do you think they're focused? Do you think Gates was focused? How about Michael Dell? We think he was focused? I mean, yeah, they're focused. I mean, you got to get focused if you want to do anything of significance. Don't use it as a negative, use it as a positive. We got to get plugged in, ladies and gentlemen. All right. What time is it? Ooh. I just spent 30 minutes of my 40 minutes doing that one little section. Now I'm supposed to do goal setting in 10 minutes, okay? Y'all are going to have to listen faster. I think that's what's next, goal setting. Oh, 7 keys. I got 7 keys to tell y'all. Let me say this, I'll end up with culture. You've got to develop a culture. Your team is going to have a culture. And either do you design that culture the way you want it to be, or it's going to happen by default. And I don't care if you're the only person on your team right now. You start developing the culture now. If you got 3 people, that's great. You start developing the culture now. It's much harder when you got 500 people or 5,000 people to start developing a culture then. You want it to start from the very beginning. So no matter where you are in the process, start developing the culture. And I promise you, if you'll listen to those 8 steps and try to follow them, you'll figure out your culture will be pretty darn good, guys. All of a sudden, you'll get people that are actually producing. Now, are we going to get some duds along the way? Yeah, absolutely. You're going to figure out real quick that there's a reason the 80-20 rule is out there. Pareto came up with that hundreds of years ago, and it applies today just like it did when he came up with it. 80% of the people you get in ain't going to do much. You just make sure you're one of the 20%ers. Fair enough? Yeah. All right, goal setting. I think this is so key. Goal setting. Here we go. Have goals and motivation. I pull this up just so you can see. I've got my goals on my note section in my phone. I've got 18 goals for 2018. I've accomplished a few. I'm getting close on others, and some of them will end up having to be pushed to 2019 because I won't hit them. But I've got 18 goals. I've got financial goals. And you say, well, you say that first. Yeah, I do. You know why I say that first? Because if you're struggling to pay the bills, it's hard to focus on anything else. Amen or on me. Amen. I mean, that is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't pay your bills, it's hard to get focused on anything other than just how am I going to make that light bill? How am I going to get food on the table? How am I going to get my kids to camp? I mean, we got to get that one out there and understand there's nothing wrong with money. Now, if you read the Bible, it's the love of money, not money, that's evil. You follow me on that, ladies and gentlemen? It's if I put money first in my life over everything else, that's wrong. You know, my priorities, you can have yours just like you want them, but my priorities are the good Lord, family, then business. That's the way I try to keep my life. I mean, I screw it up sometimes, but I mean, I try to keep it good Lord, family, business. Money is not bad in and of itself. It's if you put too much emphasis on it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having enough to live and even having enough to live well. Now, I've got my goals. I challenge you to write down your goals, okay? Before you go to bed tonight, I challenge you. I read my goals in the morning, and I read my goals at night. You say, why do you read them all the time? Because I want them to be what? Focused. I want my mind to be focusing on accomplishing these. And I've got financial goals, health goals, relationship goals, and personal growth goals. I try to have well-rounded goals where I cover all the areas of my life: financial, health, personal growth, and relationships. That's my goals that are on my phone right now. Now, you got to have goals that motivate you. I mean, what motivates you? What's your thing? I'm kind of like James. I'm a car guy. I love cars. My gosh, I've got cars now. Used to, I had an 84 Mazda B2000 pickup, and with 250,000 gazillion miles. I'm a car guy, and I'm driving that beat-up pickup around, kind of like James was. It really didn't fit me. I like driving Vipers and Mercedes and Teslas, and I like driving all that stuff now a whole lot better, okay? That fits me. That's one of the things that motivates me is I like cars. I don't know what motivates you. I also like a nice house, so that's another thing. I want a nice house for my family. Those were some of my goals of the cars I wanted to drive, the houses I wanted to live in. That's what motivated me a lot. Now, if it doesn't motivate you, it doesn't do us any good. And I'm going to also say this: don't have little bitty goals. If it's a little bitty goal that doesn't really move you, are you going to push to get there? No. You got to have stuff that you're really passionate about. You know, I also had goals of taking care of my mama. I mean, there's all kinds of different goals. There's things goals, and then there's, you know, giving goals and all that other stuff. There's all kinds of goals. But you've got to find something that really pushes your button, that you're willing to fight for. Now, for me, one of the big deals, overall kind of overreaching goal, was I wanted to leave a legacy for my kids and grandkids. I wanted my kids and grandkids to know that their dad and their pop was out there busting his butt making things happen, and he didn't make a bunch of excuses. He got things done. He did the tough stuff to make things happen. What kind of goal or legacy are you going to leave about your goals? What's your legacy right now? Now, here's the neat deal. If you don't like your legacy right now, do you realize there's still time to change it? See, I wanted people to look back and say that I was a leader, that I made our branch of that family tree look a little bit different. I don't know what motivates you, but that motivated me. All right, but you got to have goals that motivate you. You've got to have specific, measurable goals. You got to put dates. And I mean, how can I? If I say this, if I say, you know, next year I want to make more money. Well, that's a good thought. But I mean, how do you know if you get there? Next year I want to have a residual of $2,000 a month. Okay, I can measure that. I can see if I hit that. Do you follow what I'm saying? I can't just have some vague goals. I've got to have something that I know that I'm shooting for. So make your goal something that you can see if you reach it or not. Fair enough? Have time-bound goals. Put a date on it. James was September 1st. September 1st. Do you realize that's what put the urgency on it? I promise you, if he didn't have a date on there, he wouldn't have been busting his butt that last week of August. He's busting his butt because he had that September 1st date. Every goal I've got, I got a date on it. I know what date I'm shooting for. How can we get anywhere if we don't even know where we're trying to get? Do you follow me on that?